Another episode of Dynamite Delight, ladies and gentlemen. And I gotta say this. This was a good episode. The ending made the episode very good. Was it a great show overall without that? It was okay. It wasn't really amazing TV. But at least they did progress certain things. And I have to say that I'm alright with the progression. Admittedly, I still wish that they would sponsor AEW Dark more so we can have more, do some snippets of AEW Dark. Make people understand AEW Dark is where it is for content you're not getting on Dynamite. That's just me. First match, Ortiz versus Moxley. I didn't think this was going to go very long, and it didn't go that long. Was it a great match? It was okay. Seeing that everyone from the inner circle was there, including the Jericho himself, the champion, was fine. Once Moxley won, which I didn't expect him to lose, it was pretty typical until Ortiz was thrown out of the ring. Santana gets angry, jumps into the ring, gets his ass handed to him by a Paragon shift, and then, in my face if I got the shot, Moxley with the key to the 4GT. And throughout that entire match, you hear Jericho putting over Ortiz and Moxley, which was good. But then seeing that they're trying to set this up, that Moxley wants revenge for getting his eye popped, so now Santana gets his eye popped. I did not see that I botched, because this is something the WWE would not do. Now, Impact might do this. I will say that if you compare Impact Wrestling to WWE, which company would pull something like this off? I believe Impact will probably do something similar to that, or very close to it, because at least they're a little more creative compared to WWE. You will not get this from Raw or SmackDown. NXT, I don't know if they go that far. To be honest, I do not believe they will go there, but at least we got this in AEW. Now, they did have a quick segment near the end of the show where Jericho's angry that he got one of his followers eye popped. But the thing that made me happy, 100% happy for me personally, this is just me, for years, I know they were only on Impact for roughly 2 years. I think it was roughly 2 years. I thought it was like 3 or 4, because it felt like they've been there for so long in Impact. And I'm talking about Santana Ortiz as LAX. I thought it was like 3-4 years, but they only been there 2. But all that time, I said Santana need to talk, Ortiz need to talk, and it should not be Conan putting them over or Conan taking up the time. It should be them. And I finally got my moment, seeing Santana talk. And I liked seeing Santana talk serious. He's saying, Papa, you just did not know what you just did. I've been always holding back on stuff, but now you pushed me. And I'm going to be doing stuff that I never thought. And he's in my face if I got that shot. I am going to do eye for an eye. I am coming for you. I don't care now. I'm done. Now we're supposed to have an eye for an eye match. I don't know what that means. Is that a stipulation match? Does it mean they're going to try and pop the other eye of the other person and they're going to be totally blinded? I don't know what that means. So I believe it's next week or the week after. So we will find out about that. It's going to be a question what it is. Now, here is a match I just felt like it needed more content before it happened. Best Friends versus SCU. Look, I'm not against Best Friends with Cassidy, well, Orange Cassidy. Freshly Squeezed is interesting. But here's the problem. There is no content for freshly squeezed Cassidy. There's no content for Trent and his partner. You see none of it, and they feel like they're nothing. They're good wrestlers. Orange Cassidy is interesting, but why can't you at least do one promo or two once every couple of weeks showing these guys being something? And saying again, AEW Dark is not being sponsored by Dynamite. They've said it maybe once or twice. There's no video snippets of AEW Dark. There's no matches from AEW Dark. They could do a 5-minute match on AEW Dark and put 2 minutes of it or a minute on Dynamite so people can really see what's going on. Because casual fans will not go to Dark. Hardcore fans may go to Dark if they got the time. I'm somewhere in between hardcore and intermediate. I'm not casual. But I don't have time to look at Dark. So it would have been nice to see something about Trent, his partner, and Orange Cassidy. So this would have made the match mean something. Now, JR surprised me by botching calling Scorpio Sky Too Cold Scorpio. You know, it was a surprise to hear him botch like that. And they tried to save it. And I'm not saying it was great. This just makes me wish Taz was on commentary. And I'm not going against JR. I still love JR. But JR should be doing something else. I want to see JR be something more like a manager or the... look, turn him into the general manager of AEW. Turn him into it. Make it interesting. He could pull it off. But for me personally, this is what he's doing. And I don't really find it very appealing with him on commentary. And seeing that he did that botch, unless he did it on purpose, which I don't think he did, that wasn't a good botch. In the end, you got SCU winning, and you didn't have Christopher Daniels there. Then you got the beatdown from the Dark Order, and then Evil Uno coming out, and then Christopher can't. I'm botching because they rushed this. Christopher Daniels should not have been against Evil Uno from the beginning. That day that Evil Uno approached him saying, "You have been treated bad," Pentagon Jr. said, "You're garbage. You're more than that. I believe in you. Join me in Dark Order. Join the Supreme One," whatever he's called. That should, the Exalted One, I believe that's his name. That is what they should have done. Build up to it. They could have culminated this in Rebellion. No, not Rebellion. That's for Impact Wrestling. Revolution. Sorry, got that mixed up. Now I just did a JR. Oh, well. But you get my point. They didn't need to rush Christopher Daniels. This upsets me that they could have done something with the Fallen Angel. I just wish they'd done it. But let's move on. Here's the thing about Britt Baker versus Yuka Sakazara. I've seen her before. She was on the show before. I believe it was Double or Nothing or All Out last year. I believe she was there. And I didn't mind her being I Dream of Genie. But here's the problem that upsets me about Japanese wrestlers. Zero sponsorship on Dark. No video package, no video segments, barely no interview. You have one sort of interview with Rio without anyone like Kenny Omega to help her. So it just means nothing to me. She means nothing. And I want to care about these Japanese female wrestlers, or male wrestlers for that matter. But they're not sponsoring them. And if they're doing it on Dark, they're being stupid. Now, here's the thing. The match, which I thought Britt Baker is going to win this, and this woman's debuting, why would you... It just means nothing if she loses. And I'm talking about Yuka Sakazara, if I'm pronouncing her name properly. And she wins. And I'm going, okay, I understood Britt Baker needed to win because they're trying to make her into a heel, and they just let her job, so what are they going to do? And then we saw pretty much the ring being used as a weapon because Sakazuka, if I'm pronouncing it right this time, she legitimately beat her up, put her mouth into the ring rope, and then kicked the ring rope into her mouth, and supposedly knocked out a couple of her teeth. I don't know if it's real. I think it is or isn't. I'm not sure. But essentially, they just made Britt Baker into a legitimate heel. She's terrible on the mic if that is her purpose. I do not think she was being good on the mic. I believe she was being cringe. So they decided they're going to have to make her more vicious. So they did this to make it feel like Rio has a real, credible, dangerous threat. Because Britt Baker has been nothing. So I'm happy about it. But then you see Sakazaki. I believe I'm mispronouncing the name. Zaki. Yuka, and I'm going to use her name there. Yuka, I wish was being promoted. All the women that are Japanese wrestlers should be promoted. And it's pissing me off they're not getting it. Because I want to see these women get over and feel like they mean something. Now, the match that I didn't care about, but I understood why I was there. This was only about making Hangman Page look worse. And there's an 8-man tag that has the Bunny, I know she's outside, but still, Miss Bunny with the big Kirby Werbies of an alley with the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers versus pretty much the Elite. I didn't care about the match. I understand they're trying to build up Hangman Page as somebody that's having issues, particularly look like they're trying to go down the drinking problem issue. And I thought, well, the Elite's going to win this. But they do not, and it's Hangman Page who jobs here, which is fine. They are trying to sponsor Hangman Page as someone who's an issue in the Elite, even though he's not a part of it. But he is a part of it because Kenny Omega is his partner. It just keeps showing that he's having issues. And the Elite is not happy about it. And they're beginning to get frustrated with it. Good. And they keep showing him drinking. Particularly with him having a picture in his hand after he got his mug taken away. I gotta say this. They need to do more segments with him saying how pissed off he is dealing with the Elite. He cares about Kenny, but he don't care about no one in the Elite. He doesn't care about Nick and Matt, and he doesn't care about Cody. He doesn't care about none of them. And he needs to do that at a bar. And maybe, just maybe, he's sick of the Elite. I don't give a damn anymore. I don't want them in my face. And he's saying it to someone he's just drinking next to. And then Kenny comes in and pretty much says, you got to come with me. Let's go. You're drinking too much. And he shoves off Kenny. And he gets pissed at Kenny. But then the next show, because this will be on one show, he apologizes to Kenny. But it is obvious now, you could really see the straining of the relationship between the tag champs. And you wonder how far it's going to go before they break. But then, if they went down the route, it would be good. But then you got Pac dealing with Kenny in an interview, getting angry that Kenny will not give him his match. And then threatening to hurt Rio. And I'm going, why are they doing this like this instead of trying to have Kenny dealing with Adam Page having an issue? They should be doing that. But then they're still having Pac having a problem with Kenny threatening Rio and then adding this into it, which I don't get why they did this together. Why would you have Rio at that interview and then you have Nia Rose destroy her? She could not break the table because she's too damn light. At 98 pounds, he got slammed into a table which should have broke, and it did not. And Nia saying, I am coming for you, licking her hands, and she's in my face. That did not look good. They shouldn't have put Nia Rose and Rio mixed in with Pac, and Kenny Omega. They should have kept those separate. separate. And it didn't work for me. Didn't. Honestly. Unless they're going to have a actual interview with Rio saying that she's angry that she got treated like that by Nia Rose, I'm not going to buy anything when it comes to the match. I'm being honest here, guys. I'm being honest. Let me see here. Anything else that happened? Alright. Let me make sure. I don't want to forget anything, but essentially speaking, that's it. It's whipping time. I'm going to use that title because it's the best way to say it. This is the day that this image in my face clearly shows how the people were invested once Cody came out and MJF came out and Cody basically taking off his clothes and getting into the ring, and he's got to take those lashes. First couple of lashes, he didn't like it. He wanted to break the face of MJF, but he understood if he did, it's done. Taking it by the fourth one, that's when he started hitting the floor, and at least some of the roster, the heel roster, came out to watch because they wanted to see Cody get his ass whooped. Then you finally had, and I'm not taking anything away from Dustin in his interview and Taz in his interview, but it was obvious he was going to survive this. But it was going to count in how much Cody was going to have to sell this. Now, did he oversell it? He might a little bit. I'm not saying he oversold it a lot, but he wanted the crowd to get invested in it. And maybe he oversold it a little bit in the beginning, where he started getting hurt and he had to start getting onto the floor. But once the welts really began to show and he started bleeding on his back, that's when this worked. Because it wouldn't have worked if the welts weren't big enough. Because MJF had to hit him hard to sell this, guys. He had to hit him really hard to make it really mean something. And after Wardlow had one shot, and that was the ninth shot, that's when things got very interesting for the crowd, and they were truly behind Cody, and they truly hated MJF. And once Art Anderson came down, once the Young Bucks came down, once Brandy, and that made no freaking sense for Brandy to come out. If she's with the Nightmare Covenant, she shouldn't have came out. Sorry, guys. I understand that's her husband, but if she's playing a bad girl, she cannot just flip the script and come out like that in normal white freaking clothes. Because if it's going to be like this, they should have waited until after MJF's feud with Cody and then make her get dark. And even Cody gets like, what the hell's going on with you, Brandy? Why are you doing this? You should not be acting like this. They should have did it like that. But with the Nightmare Covenant, I don't see nothing right. And then her coming out in white made it worse. I'm sorry. Yeah, and many people agreed and loved that moment when she came out to support her man. But personally for me, if she's playing a bad girl, she should be sticking as a bad girl and not flip the script and turn to a good girl wearing freaking white to be with her man. But was the ending good? Yes. Then seeing that MJF so pissed off that he didn't get Cody to give up, kicks him in the gonads. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch that image. But was this a good segment for the show? Yes. This might trend on Twitter and people will be interested in it. Overall, the show was okay. Had a couple of good things that was building up for something. Hangman Page is building up okay. At least they're taking the time with him. Rio sucks. The build for that sucks with Nia Rose. Britt Baker getting that moment actually helped her. I'm saying it right now. That truly helped Britt Baker. Because she now becomes a more credible threat. Being willing to do anything to anybody. Including putting their mouth onto a ring rope which is made of steel wrapped up in Gorilla Tape. And kicks it to knock their teeth out. That shows at least they understand they need a credible female heel. They need one. Shame they didn't understand that with the Nightmare Collective. Because that sucks. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. And watch for my NWA Power Review tomorrow. Peace.